Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I invite you to step beyond the veil of doubt and enter into the great mystery of life itself. A miracle from God is not something distant, not something you must wait for, nor something to be granted by a force outside of you. It is here now, waiting for your recognition, your acceptance, your absolute conviction that it is already done. The moment you understand this, the moment you truly awaken to the great power within, you will no longer seek miracles. You will live them. The world has long misunderstood the nature of miracles. They believe them to be rare, unpredictable occurrences bestowed upon the few who are deemed worthy. But I say to you, the miracle you seek is as natural as the rising of the sun, as certain as the beating of your heart. It is not reserved for the privileged, nor granted by favor, but is the inevitable result of your state of consciousness. You are the creator of your own reality, the master of the unseen forces that shape your world. When you come to know this truth, not merely in words, but in experience, you will never again look outside of yourself for the miraculous. Everything in life begins as an assumption, a belief deeply accepted as true. Look around you. Everything you see, every condition you experience, every event that unfolds in your life is the direct reflection of your assumptions. You are always creating, whether you realize it or not. The only question is, are you creating consciously or unconsciously? To live in ignorance of this great law is to drift through life, subject to circumstances and external forces. But to awaken is to take hold of the power that has always been yours, to mold and shape reality according to your desires. A miracle is nothing more than the visible expression of an inner transformation. You do not need to beg, to plead, or to wait for divine favor. God is not an external being granting blessings at will. God is your own wonderful awareness of being. And when you assume the feeling of already having that which you seek, the world must rearrange itself to make it so. This is not philosophy, this is law. It is as certain as gravity, as unbreakable as the rising and falling of the tides. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to receive miracles effortlessly, while others struggle? It is not chance, nor is it luck. It is the simple difference between those who assume the reality of their desires and those who continue to dwell in the reality of their senses. The senses will always show you what has been assumed in the past, but they do not dictate what must be. If you look only to the evidence of the senses, you will remain bound by the conditions you wish to escape. But if you dare to turn within, to assume boldly, to live as though your miracle were already a reality, then no power on earth can prevent it from coming to pass. The greatest secret of life is that consciousness is the only reality. The world outside of you is but a reflection of the world within. Change your inner state, and the outer world must follow. Assume yourself to be the person you wish to be, and let that assumption be so natural, so real, that it feels as though it has always been. Then rest in the knowing that it is done. The ways and means are not yours to determine. They will unfold in perfect order. You are not concerned with how the miracle will come. You need only to know that it is already accomplished. Perhaps you say, but I have tried before and nothing has changed. That is only because you have not yet fully committed to the assumption of your desire. A fleeting wish is not enough. A mere hope will not bring forth the miraculous. You must become so deeply convinced of your own power, so absolutely certain that what you have assumed is already true, that no force in the world can shake your belief. This is the faith that moves mountains, the faith that parts the seas, the faith that turns the impossible into the inevitable. Do not look at the conditions of the world and call them permanent. No state is fixed. No situation is beyond change. Everything is in motion, shifting according to the assumptions you hold. The life you live today is simply the sum of the beliefs you held yesterday. And if you wish to change it, you need only assume a new reality. Persist in that assumption and watch as the world bends to reflect it. There is no limit to what you may create. Health, wealth, love, success. There are no restrictions, no barriers, no conditions placed upon you except those you place upon yourself. The world tells you to be realistic, to accept things as they are. But I say to you, do not accept what does not serve you. Do not bow to circumstances that do not align with your highest vision. Instead, lift your eyes to the unseen, to the infinite possibilities that exist within you. Dare to believe in the reality of your desires. Dare to live in the assumption that they are already fulfilled, and soon you will witness the miracle unfold before your very eyes. The time is now. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. The moment you shift your awareness, the moment you claim your miracle as already done, the unseen forces begin to move. The world begins to shape itself anew, and what was once impossible becomes inevitable. You are not separate from the miracle you seek. You are its very cause. Step into this truth. Live from it, walk in it, and know beyond all doubt that a miracle from God is about to happen in your life. It is done. A miracle is not something that happens outside of you, nor is it an event that defies natural law. A miracle is the inevitable outcome of understanding and applying the divine principles that govern creation. The intervention of God is not a force that descends upon you from above. It is the power within you, waiting for recognition. The moment you accept this truth and align yourself with it, life begins to unfold in ways that seem miraculous to those who do not understand. To the sleepy mind, life appears as a series of random events, dictated by chance, circumstance, and the will of others. But to the one who has discovered the true nature of reality, it is clear that everything in life is a reflection of consciousness. The divine intervention you seek is not external. It is the shift in awareness that allows you to step into a higher state of being. The moment you accept your divinity and assume the feeling of already having that which you desire, unseen forces move in perfect harmony to bring it into manifestation. The world has long misunderstood the nature of God. They have been taught to seek a power outside of themselves, to look to the heavens and wait for a force beyond their reach to bless them. But God is not separate from you. The divine presence you seek is your own awareness, your own wonderful imagination. It is through this divine faculty that all things are made. Every invention, every work of art, every great achievement was first conceived in the imagination before it became visible. The same power that shaped civilizations, that moved mountains and parted seas, is the very power that dwells within you. If you desire divine intervention, you must first understand the law by which all things come into being. You do not pray to a distant God, hoping for mercy. You assume the reality of your desire and rest in the knowledge that it is already done. The world may call this faith, but it is not blind faith. It is the certainty that comes from knowing that consciousness is the only reality. Whatever you accept as true in your inner world must be reflected in your outer world. This is the law that governs all creation, and it does not fail. It has been said, according to your faith be it unto you. But what is faith? Faith is not mere hope, nor is it wishful thinking. Faith is the unwavering conviction that what you have assumed is already a fact. It is a deep inner knowing that what you claim in consciousness will materialize in form. When you assume a state, the world must conform to that assumption. This is not speculation, it is a divine principle, an eternal truth that has been revealed to those who dare to believe. If you are waiting for a miracle, you are delaying the inevitable. You do not wait for divine intervention, you declare it, assume it, and live as though it were already yours. This is the great secret of all spiritual masters. They did not wait for the world to change before believing in their vision. They believed first, and the world reshaped itself to match their belief. There are those who will say, but I have prayed and my prayers have not been answered. This is because they have prayed as beggars rather than as creators. True prayer is not pleading. It is assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If you ask and then continue to dwell in the feeling of lack, you have not truly asked. You cannot hold two contradictory states at once. Either you accept the reality of your desire, or you continue to dwell in the reality of its absence. The choice is always yours. Divine intervention is not something that happens to you, it is something that happens through you. It is the moment you assume the state of being that aligns with your desire. There is no force outside of you preventing your miracle, only your own unwillingness to believe in its reality. The moment you let go of doubt, of fear, of hesitation, and fully embrace the truth that your desire is already accomplished, the world will reflect that assumption back to you. There is no limit to what can be achieved when this principle is understood. There is no condition too great, no obstacle too strong, no past too broken that it cannot be transformed. The world has taught you to believe in limitations, but the truth is, there are none. The only barriers that exist are the ones you have accepted in your own mind. The moment you dissolve these false beliefs and assume the state of already having your desire, the miracle you seek becomes inevitable. It is not necessary to understand how your desire will manifest. The ways and means are not your concern. Your only responsibility is to live in the end, to dwell in the feeling of already being the person you wish to be. When you persist in this assumption, the unseen forces of the universe begin to rearrange themselves to bring it into form. Opportunities arise where there were none. People and circumstances shift in perfect alignment with your assumption. What seemed impossible becomes effortless. Do not let the evidence of the senses deter you. The world you see now is merely a reflection of past assumptions. If you continue to react to what is, you will only perpetuate the same reality. But if you dare to ignore the senses and persist in the feeling of already having what you seek, then nothing in this world can stop its manifestation. This is the divine intervention you have been waiting for, the realization that you are the operant power, that your assumption creates your reality, and that the miracle is already yours. The time to act is now. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. The moment you shift your awareness, the moment you accept the reality of your desire as fact, the world begins to move in response. You are not separate from the divine, you are one with it. The power that created the heavens and the earth is the same power within you. Use it wisely, assume boldly, and know beyond all doubt that the intervention of God is already at work in your life. The power of imagination is the very essence of creation itself. Everything that exists in this world, every invention, every work of art, every great achievement was first conceived in the mind before it became a reality. Imagination is not a mere faculty of the mind. It is the divine creative power within you. It is the means by which you bring forth the unseen into the seen, the bridge between the invisible world of thought and the tangible world of experience. To understand this truth is to hold the key to all transformation, for nothing can manifest in your life unless it is first imagined. Most people live under the illusion that reality is something fixed, something external that must be accepted as it is. They believe they are subject to circumstances, that life happens to them rather than through them. But reality is nothing more than the imagining of your imagination. The world you see, the conditions you experience, the people who enter your life, all of it is shaped by what you have imagined, whether consciously or unconsciously. If you wish to change your life, you must first change the images you hold in your mind. It is not enough to simply wish for a better life. A wish is weak, fleeting, and uncertain. What is required is a definite assumption, an unshakable conviction that the reality you desire already exists within you. This is the great secret of creation. You do not create by effort, nor by force, but by the controlled and deliberate use of imagination. What you dare to assume is true in your inner world must, by law, become true in your outer world. This is not speculation, nor is it philosophy. It is a law as certain as any physical law known to man. To use imagination effectively, you must learn to dwell in the end, You must not concern yourself with the means by which your desire will be fulfilled. The how is not your concern. The state of already possessing your desire is. When you imagine, do not see yourself desiring something, see yourself as already having it. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, the certainty that comes with knowing it is already done. This is the great secret behind all answered prayers, all fulfilled desires, all seeming miracles. The one who imagines himself into the state of the wish fulfilled is the one who shapes reality according to his will. Many people fail to realize the power they possess because they allow themselves to be guided by their senses. They look at the world as it is and believe it to be fixed, unchangeable. But the senses only show you what has already been imagined and assumed in the past. They are reflections of old states of consciousness. If you continue to react to what you see, you will only perpetuate the same conditions. But if you learn to turn away from appearances and persist in the assumption of a new reality, the world must conform to your imagination. It has been said that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. But faith is nothing more than the ability to assume the reality of your desire before there is any evidence to support it. The world calls this foolishness, but those who understand the law know that this is the only way creation works. You do not wait for the world to change before you believe. You believe first, and the world follows. To truly master the power of imagination, you must develop the ability to live from your assumption, not merely think about it. It is not enough to visualize passively. You must become so absorbed in the reality of your desire that it feels more real than the world around you. When you close your eyes and imagine, you must enter into the scene with all your senses, feeling the texture of things, hearing the sounds, smelling the air, moving through the scene as though it were reality itself. The more vividly and consistently you do this, the faster your world will rearrange itself to reflect your assumption. Doubt is the only enemy of creation. The moment you begin to question, to wonder whether or not your assumption will come to pass, you weaken the creative process. The world responds not to fleeting wishes, but to firm, unwavering convictions. You must train yourself to think from the end, to persist in the feeling of already being the person you wish to be. If you can hold this assumption long enough without allowing the outer world to shake you, then nothing can stop it from becoming reality. There is no limit to what can be achieved through imagination. There is no condition that cannot be changed, no circumstance that cannot be rewritten. The only limitations are the ones you accept as real. If you believe that something is beyond your reach, then it will be. But if you dare to assume that all things are possible, then nothing can stand in your way. The world has taught you to be realistic, to accept things as they are. But reality is nothing more than the crystallization of past imaginations. It is not fixed, it is fluid, malleable, subject to the shaping power of your mind. If you wish to experience a different reality, you must first create it within. Do not wait for the world to change. Change your imagination, and the world will follow. The greatest minds throughout history have understood this truth. Every great achievement was first an image in the mind of the one who brought it forth. They did not rely on circumstances or wait for permission from the world. They saw beyond appearances, dared to assume their vision was already real, and lived in that assumption until the world caught up. This is the secret of all success, all transformation, all miracles. Now is the time to awaken to your creative power. Begin now to assume the feeling of already having what you desire. Do not let the evidence of the senses deceive you. They are only shadows of old beliefs. Persist in the assumption that your wish is already fulfilled, and the world must conform to your vision. Nothing is impossible to the one who understands that imagination is the only reality. The feeling of certainty is the secret key that unlocks all manifestations. It is not enough to simply wish for change, nor is it enough to desire a new reality. One must know beyond all doubt that what is imagined is already true. This is the great difference between those who merely hope and those who experience true transformation. Hope looks to the future, while certainty lives in the present. Hope acknowledges the possibility, but certainty assumes the reality. There is a great misunderstanding in the world about the nature of faith. Many believe faith is something to be developed through effort, something that must be worked toward over time. But faith, in its truest sense, is simply the ability to accept as real that which the world has not yet revealed. It is the complete and unwavering conviction that the state imagined is already fact. When one has faith of this kind, no external force can shake it. No evidence contrary to the assumption can dissuade it. The world may present circumstances that seem to deny the reality of the assumption, but these are mere reflections of past beliefs, and they have no true power. The world is always responding to inner states. What one feels as true, deeply and without contradiction, must express itself in external reality. This is not an abstract idea, nor is it mere philosophy. It is law. Just as gravity does not fail, just as the tides obey the pull of the moon, so too does the outer world follow the assumptions held within. The one who masters this principle does not look to the world for confirmation. Rather, he looks within, knowing that what he assumes will inevitably harden into fact. The secret to all manifestation lies in the ability to assume a state and persist in that assumption with absolute certainty. There can be no wavering, no questioning, no internal debate. The moment doubt enters, the process is disrupted. This is why so many fail to see results. They allow the evidence of the senses to shake their faith, to make them question whether their assumption is truly working. But the one who understands the law knows that the senses only reflect past assumptions, and they have no bearing on what is to come. The feeling of certainty is not something that can be faked. It cannot be forced or manufactured through mere words. It must be felt deeply, with absolute conviction. One must live, in the end, fully immersed in the feeling of already possessing that which is desired. When this is done correctly, the mind ceases to question. There is no more asking, no more hoping. There is only knowing. And once this knowing is established, reality has no choice but to conform. Many wonder how to cultivate this level of certainty. The answer is simple: through experience. Just as one learns to walk by walking, just as one learns to speak by speaking, one learns the power of assumption by applying it. The first results may seem small, but they are proof that the law works. The more one applies the principle, the more confidence grows, until eventually doubt is eliminated entirely. The great minds of history did not hope for their visions to become reality. They knew. They assumed the feeling of already having what they desired, and the world reshaped itself to reflect their conviction. One must also understand that the assumption of a state does not mean waiting for its appearance. Many fall into the trap of believing that once they assume something, they must look for signs, for external confirmation that it is coming. But this is a mistake, for it implies that one does not truly believe. The one who is certain does not need confirmation because he already knows the outcome. There is no need to check the soil every day to see if a planted seed is growing. One simply trusts that the process is working, and in time the evidence appears. This is why it is said, "When you pray, believe that you have received and you shall have." The key is not to pray for something to happen, but to assume that it already has. The moment one shifts from hoping to knowing, the manifestation is set in motion. From that moment forward, every event, every encounter, every circumstance moves in perfect harmony to bring the assumption into reality. This is not coincidence, nor is it luck. It is law. The feeling of certainty is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. It is what transforms imagination into experience, thought into form. The world has taught people to rely on effort, to struggle and strive to achieve their desires. But true creation is effortless. It is the result of an inner shift. a movement of consciousness from one state to another. When one assumes the feeling of already being the person they wish to be, action becomes inspired, opportunities arise naturally, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. There is no limit to what can be achieved through this principle. No desire is too great, no condition too difficult to change. The only requirement is absolute certainty. If one can feel the reality of their desire without needing external confirmation, without allowing doubt to enter, then the world must align itself accordingly. This is not speculation, it is truth. One must never be discouraged by delay. The seed takes time to grow, but once it is planted, the outcome is assured. Those who lose faith when results do not appear instantly are like farmers who dig up their seeds before they have a chance to sprout. But the one who understands the law does not concern himself with time. He knows that what is assumed with certainty must manifest, and so he remains steadfast, unmoved by appearances. Now is the time to awaken to this truth. The moment one assumes a state and fully believes in its reality, the process begins. There is no need to ask when or how or if. It is already done. Live in the certainty of your assumption and let the world conform to your vision. This is the great secret of creation, the law by which all things come into being. Nothing is beyond reach. Nothing is impossible. The only question is whether you are willing to assume the feeling of already having your desire and persist in that feeling until the world reshapes itself to match your assumption. The unseen world within you is the only reality. What you see with your physical eyes is nothing more than a reflection, a mere imagining of the assumptions you have held in consciousness. To change what appears in your life, you must first change what you accept as true in the realm of imagination. For the unseen is the cause, and the seen is only the effect. When you grasp this truth, you will no longer be swayed by circumstances, nor will you allow appearances to dictate what you believe is possible. Instead, you will turn inward, recognizing that all change begins with the unseen, with the ideas and assumptions that shape the fabric of reality. Everything that exists was first imagined before it became manifest. The house you live in, the chair you sit on, the clothes you wear, none of these things appeared by chance. They were once ideas in the minds of men, seen clearly in imagination long before they were brought into form. This same principle applies to your own life. The conditions you experience, whether favorable or not, are the direct result of what you have imagined to be true. If you wish to transform your world, you must first transform your inner assumptions, for they are the blueprint upon which reality is constructed. Many struggle because they attempt to change the outer world while neglecting the inner. They fight against circumstances, resist conditions, and try to force change through effort alone. But such attempts are futile, for they do not address the cause. To truly alter the course of your life, you must rise beyond the evidence of the senses and take control of the unseen realm within you. This requires discipline, for the world will try to convince you that what is seen is the only truth. But if you persist in assuming the reality of your unseen vision, the world must conform to your conviction. The unseen world is not a place of fantasy, nor is it a realm of mere imagination. When you close your eyes and construct an image of yourself as you wish to be, you are not engaging in idle dreaming. You are planting the seed of a new reality, a reality that must unfold in time, but you must remain faithful to your vision. Just as a seed, once planted, must be nurtured and given time to grow, so too must your assumptions be maintained with unwavering faith. Doubt is the only thing that can disrupt the process, for the world outside will always reflect the dominant state of your mind. What you truly believe, not what you merely wish for, determines your experience. If you assume wealth, you will be led to opportunities that bring it forth. If you assume health, your body will respond accordingly. If you assume love, you will find it expressed in your relationships. This is law. It does not fail, nor does it make exceptions. The unseen reality within you is constantly shaping the world around you, whether you are aware of it or not. The question is not whether this principle is at work in your life. The question is whether you are using it consciously or allowing old assumptions to dictate your experience. The key to mastery lies in living from the unseen. The senses will try to convince you that only what is tangible is real, but this is the great illusion. The truth is that everything seen today was once unseen, and everything that will exist in the future must first be claimed in consciousness. If you can believe in the reality of your vision before it is confirmed by the senses, then nothing can stop it from manifesting. You must become so deeply convinced of your assumption that the world outside no longer holds power over you. To dwell in the unseen is to live as though your desire were already fulfilled. It is to feel, to think, and to act from the state of your wish already being a fact. This does not mean pretending or merely hoping. It means fully accepting that what you have imagined is already true. When you walk in this certainty, the world must rearrange itself to reflect your assumption. You will be led to the right people, the right circumstances, the right events, all in perfect harmony with your inner vision. This is not coincidence, nor is it luck. It is the law of assumption in motion. Many fail because they allow the outer world to dictate their inner state. They look at the conditions around them and, seeing no change, they fall into doubt. But this is like digging up a seed before it has had time to sprout. The moment you accept the unseen as real, you must persist in that assumption regardless of what the senses report. For the unseen is the only true reality, and what is seen will eventually conform. You are always living by this principle, whether consciously or unconsciously. Every experience, every event in your life is the direct result of the assumptions you have held. If you look at your world and see things you do not like, do not waste time trying to fight against them. Instead, withdraw your attention from them and turn within. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Construct in your mind's eye the scene that would be true if your desire were already a fact, and dwell in that state with unwavering confidence. To live in the unseen is to walk by faith, not by sight. It is to know that the world outside is but a shadow of the world within. It is to claim your good now, not in the future, not someday, but now, in the present moment. For all creation is finished, and that which you desire already exists in the unseen realm. Your task is simply to assume it, to believe in it so completely that it becomes the only reality you know. And when you do, the world will respond in kind, for it has no choice but to reflect that which you hold as true within. There is a great mystery hidden in plain sight, a truth so profound yet so simple that the world has overlooked it. Your external world is nothing more than the reflection of your inner state. What you hold in consciousness with feeling, what you believe to be true with conviction, must appear in your life as surely as the sun rises and sets. This is not speculation, nor is it mere philosophy, it is law. The law is impersonal and unchanging. It responds not to what you want, not to what you wish for, but to what you assume as true. All things already exist. There is no future creation, no waiting for something to be made anew. Everything that you could ever desire, every possibility, every outcome, these already exist in the infinite realm of creation. The only question is, what will you claim as your reality? The world has taught you that you must earn, struggle, and strive for the things you seek. But true creation is not a process of attaining. It is a process of selecting. You do not need to force your desires into being. You simply need to align yourself with the state in which they are already yours. To live from the state of already having is the great secret. It is not enough to wish for wealth, health, or love. It is not enough to hope for change. You must become the person who already possesses that which you seek. How would you feel if your wish were already fulfilled? What would your thoughts be? How would you move through the world? You must think from the desire, not of it. The one who thinks of their desire keeps it at a distance, making it something separate from themselves. But the one who thinks from the desire knows it is already a reality and lives in that conviction. The only barrier between you and your desire is the belief that it is separate from you. This illusion of separation is the great deception that keeps humanity bound to limitation. You are not a being struggling to achieve. You are a creator selecting realities. And the moment you claim something as true with full acceptance, it must externalize in your world. The law does not fail. It does not delay. The only delay comes from the wavering mind, from the one who assumes a state in one moment and doubts it in the next. There is no power outside of you. Nothing in the world has an inherent reality except that which you assign to it. If you believe something to be difficult, it will be difficult. If you believe circumstances control your destiny, they will appear to do so. But the moment you shift your assumption, the world reshapes itself to conform to your new belief. The power has always been within you. The world outside is but a shadow, reflecting back to you the convictions you hold within. The mistake most people make is looking to the external world for confirmation before they believe. They seek signs, waiting for proof that their desires are coming. But this is the reverse of the creative process. The outer world is the effect, not the cause. You must first assume the state of already having, and only then will the world reflect it back to you. If you wait for proof, you will wait forever. But if you trust the unseen, knowing that the law is absolute, your assumption must harden into fact. You may ask, how do I know that I have truly assumed a state? The answer is simple, by the feeling it generates within you. When you truly accept something as real, you feel at peace. There is no anxiety, no questioning, no need to force anything. You simply know. The feeling of certainty is the mark of a successful assumption. If you still feel the need to check, to seek reassurance, then you have not yet fully accepted it. But once you cross the threshold into conviction, the world must shift to reflect your inner certainty. You have already experienced this law in your life, whether you were aware of it or not. Think back to moments when you were absolutely certain about something, whether good or bad, and recall how the world conformed to that certainty. The principle works regardless of whether you use it consciously or unconsciously. Every belief you have held, every assumption you have accepted, has shaped the conditions of your life. The only difference now is that you are being called to use this power deliberately, to assume only the states that serve you, to select only the realities you wish to experience. The process is effortless once you understand that it is not about making something happen, but about knowing that it already is. You do not need to struggle to create. You simply need to rest in the conviction of already having. Assume the feeling, dwell in it, and persist. The outer world has no choice but to mirror your assumption, for it is law. And once you have proven this to yourself, once you have seen the undeniable results of living from the wish fulfilled, you will never again be swayed by appearances. You stand at the threshold of infinite possibilities. At this very moment, you can choose to assume the reality of your greatest desire. You can step into the feeling of already being, already having, already knowing that it is done. And if you persist in this assumption, without doubt, without contradiction, the world must bow to your conviction. You are not here to wait for miracles. You are here to create them. And the moment you fully assume the state of already having, the miracle is set in motion. The world will move. Circumstances will shift. And what once seemed impossible will become inevitable. This is the great truth that has been hidden in plain sight, the truth that once understood will free you from all limitation. The great truth has always been within you. Your world is the imaging of your inner state. You are not bound by circumstances, nor are you at the mercy of fate. The power to transform your life lies in your ability to assume the reality of your desires before they are seen. The unseen is the only reality, and what you hold in consciousness with feeling must externalize in your world. No longer must you wait for signs, for proof, or for permission from the world outside. You are the cause, and the world is the effect. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, live from the state of already having. Persist in the conviction that what you have claimed is already yours, and the outer world will mold itself to your inner certainty. There is no exception to this law, no instance in which it fails. You stand at the threshold of infinite possibilities. The choice is always yours. Will you continue to react to the world, allowing it to dictate your inner state? Or will you claim your divine inheritance, assume your desire as a present fact, and watch the world bow to your conviction? The moment you fully accept that your assumption creates reality, you will no longer struggle, no longer doubt, no longer seek outside of yourself. You will rest in the certainty that all that you desire is already yours. And in doing so, you will witness miracles unfold before your eyes. The law is simple, it is unchanging, and it is yours to use now and always. Assume wisely, believe fully, and persist unwaveringly. The world will not fail to reflect the truth you hold within.